Jay Weiser from the Metropolitan Opera House here in the Big Apple, and this is 10 Minutes. Today's topic of discussion, Giuseppe Verdi. This famed Italian composer wrote 37 operas in his lengthy lifetime. He was born in October of 1813 in Le Rencole, Italy. During my research, I decided I would visit his main city of composing, Milan. And well, let's just say I had quite an adventure. I heard about this thing, Midday in Milan, where if you show up at exactly noon, you can travel through time to meet famous people. Hopefully I can get an interview with Verdi himself. Okay. There we go. Hop on in! Okay! Buckle up!
I'm sexy and I know it. I'm sexy and I know it.
Describe how your first interest in music began.
Well, when I was a boy, my family moved to Busseto. While there, I frequently visited the large library of the nearby Jesuit school. I read quite a bit about music and was fascinated about what I read. I also received lessons in counterpoint. When I was 20, I went to Milan and practiced a lot of music there. Well, I started off quite well. My opera, Berto, was a stunning success. However, the death of my wife and 2 children was devastating. On top of that, my second opera, Un giorno di regno, was a failure by all standards. I was so discouraged and I vowed to quit music. However, Bartholomew Morelli, the man who offered me my first contract, saw my genius and begged me to compose Nabucco. In particular, Va Pensiero, the chorus that's sung by the Hebrew slaves. I was sending a message to Italians that we are bereft of our Zion. We were in a parallel situation to the Jews in Babylon, only we were under control of the Austrian regime. In order to achieve our Zion, we must become independent. That was the message I was trying to send. Well, as a boy, I really enjoyed Shakespeare's poetry. And my friend, Antonio Morelli, and Andrea Maffei, suggested I write it. So I said, you know what, I'll just give it a shot.
Mm-hmm. Your Macbeth play seemed to be very successful in its original premiere. Why did you perform a revised version?
Well, I honestly did not think the play was at the height of its potential. I felt a ballet was necessary in Act 3, and music for Macbeth and Lady Macbeth in Act 1 and 3 needed to be changed. I'm aware that the opera was not well received, but to me it's just fine. I'm satisfied with the results. My work is imbued with the art of counterpoint, which is simply when one melody or tune is playing at the same time as another. I would say that I best employ the art of counterpoint in my final opera, Falstaff. After years of experience in composition, I became quite adept at this complicated skill. And so my last opera is where it would be most prevalent. Well, that's quite a hard question to answer with 37 operas. But I'd have to say that my favorite opera is Nabucco. When it first premiered, people would demand encores for the Va Pensiero chorus. And people began to feel that Italy needed to be its own country. And I felt that that opera best accomplished my mission of uniting Italy into one country that it is today.
Okay, well, thank you for your time today, Mr. Verdi. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for the interview, my young sir.
You're a national hero, you really are.
Thank you. After suffering from a stroke while staying at the Grand Hotel at Milan, Giuseppe Verdi died on January 27, 1901. However, that did not end his influence on the Italian society. At his funeral, people from all over Italy flocked the streets to pay tribute to this great man. They marched his body to Cimitero Monumentale, all chanting the Va Pensiero chorus of the Hebrew slaves from Nabucco. This was the largest gathering recorded in Italian history, and Italian nationalism flourished. This movement helped gain Italy its independence in 1946, following the fall of fascism.
Although I usually like Verdi's works, his one work, Un Giorno di Regno, was just out of place. Compared to all his other stupendous works, this piece, this opera, just wasn't so great. I understand this was a very hard time in his life when he wrote it, with his wife just passing away, but for such a young artist to be composing this and almost flopping it was just not very good. Hello, I'm here on set, videoing in the one, the only Jesse Simon to discuss none other than Verdi's best performance claimed by many, Nabucco. Jesse, tell us a little about it.
It remains perhaps an early work by a composer still coming to terms with his crafts and talents, but the fact that it still makes for an enjoyable evening at the opera in the year of the composer's bicentenary suggests that Verdi was onto something from the beginning. Nabucco was one of Verdi's most dramatic as well as influential plays. As stated by Verdi himself, it helped influence the Italian Revolution, creating the modern-day nation of Italy.
So, wow, Nabucco was the reason Italy decided to gain its independence. So interesting. Thank you, Jesse. Now let's hear from some more critics.
Verdi and his operas in 2007, that Verdi expressed attention to detail and sureness of effect, unprecedented in earlier works. This was truly one of his best. Rigoletto tells the unfortunate tragedy of the opera's protagonist, Rigoletto, the sharp-tongued Duke's sidekick, who is cursed in the first act by Arab tycoon who he ridiculed, Montereau. The performance was astounding and regarded as revolutionary by both Verdi, in a letter to Piave, and musicologist Julian Budden. Budden compared this opus to Beethoven's Eroica Symphony. He stated that the barriers between formal melody and recitative are as down as ever before.
Verdi, in quote-unquote his years in the galleys, ended his production of Italian operas. The Ottocento period of European music ended, and Verdi's operas were now drawn from different styles of music. This began a new period of Verdi opera called the Middle Ages. This new style led to the production of what most consider Verdi's most compelling opera,
Aida.
It was commissioned by Egyptian Khedive Ismail Pasha for the opening of the Khedive Opera House in Cairo.
Aida.
Egyptian king Radamé and his love for
Aida.
Ethiopian slave girl at the time of war between the two countries.
Aida.
The extent of their love and their unfortunate death, the opera was met with great critical acclaim.
Well, it looks like our time is up, but I hope this episode was very good, and I hope you will join us next time on 10 Minutes.